Hello, welcome to Cherry Red Radio. I'm Iain McNay, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to play you some wonderful sounds, nearly all on Cherry Red or via Cherry Red, with maybe one or two which are outsiders, so to speak. I'm going to start with a track from the band Yes. I've always loved Yes, and as you probably know, if you're a regular, I include them in most shows. So here is Hour of Need by Yes. So that was Hour of Need by Yes, and it was from their album Fly From Here Return Trip. And this is an interesting project because it was, the album was originally recorded in 2011, and then a couple of years ago Trevor Horn completely remixed the album, and he also redid the vocals with him singing lead vocal. So it was Steve Howe on guitar, Chris Squire on bass guitar, Alan White on drums, Jeff Downs on keyboards, and Trevor on vocals. And this came out re-released a few months ago, and it's just coming out now on vinyl. And that track was the second last track from the album. Now, I'm always scouring interesting new prog bands, and I don't know if this band is actually that new, but I haven't really been that aware of them before. And I found this track, Machina is the track, from Last Flight to Pluto. See what you think of this.
Look around, I see the colors that you see. Tell me what I must do. My purpose is to serve you. Feel
That was Machina from Last Flight to Pluto. And I tried to find out more about the band, and I couldn't find out very much at all, so they remain a bit of a mystery. But I would say, for those of you who are worrying about the lyrics, thinking they're inappropriate for a female voice to sing those lyrics, Machina means machine. So just to make that absolutely clear. Now, Cherry Red has many, many different labels, and we put out many, many different compilations, and sometimes they're on cities or areas, countries, sometimes they're genres or years, sometimes they're labels. And I'm now going to play you 3 tracks in succession from an album called 1978, the year the UK turned Dayglow. I'm not going to tell you who the tracks are by first, but I think you'll know most of them, and we can talk about them briefly afterwards.
whipping socks into his riding boots. He took his kettle prod and some zippy tits. Flashing in the subway. There's gonna be trouble tonight. Lock up your doors tonight. Lock them up tight. Well, his hood of black leather, well, it hides him from the sun, and it promises dark weather as he polishes his gun. He's flashing in the subway. There's gonna be trouble tonight. Lock up your doors tonight. Lock them up tight. In the moonshine light of the subway night, his dagger flashes like the surgeon's knife.
So that was, as I said beforehand, three tracks from 1978, the year the UK turned Dayglow, which is a 3 CD box set. And it was, of course, to start with The Cure, 10:15 Saturday night, Pill, their first singles with the amazing Jar Wobble on that bass guitar. And that was the first time he was actually in a studio, and he wrote that bass line almost spontaneously. And then Tyler Gang, Flushing in the Subway. And we only found out quite recently that, quite sadly, Sean Tyler, who was the Tyler Gang, or the main guy in the Tyler Gang, departed a few weeks ago. He hadn't been well for a time. He's now left us. And of course, he had a very long career with Ducks Deluxe, the Tyler Gang, his own band. And he also played with Help Yourself, Joan Jett, Deke Leonard, and many other people. He'll be of course missed. Another box set that's coming out very soon via Cherry Red is No Future. No Future, of course, was a punk label which came out of the second wave of punk, which was the early 80s. Had many, many wonderful bands: the Partisans, Blitz, Pillow Test Tube Babies, One Way System, Channel 3, Violators. And it was a label run out of Malvern and Worcestershire. Two good friends of mine, Chris Berry and Richard Jones. And they lasted for about 3 years, and they really were at the cutting end of not only punk music, but the political movement that started out of that. So I'm going to play you 2 tracks from that, their first single on No Future, which is Warriors by Blitz, and then the Violators, Summer of 81.
Setting on the day's flame, as we walk over this wasteland of pain.
That was Blitz Warriors, Violators of Summer 81, and I actually added an extra track there, Red Alert in Britain. That was a really interesting time in the early 80s for the second wave of punk, very political as well as quite heavy musically. Now, I'm joined by a special guest, and the special guest is John Reed, who's the Cherry Red director of Catalogue, and he puts together many of our wonderful box sets and other releases that we put out on different labels. And so, hi John.
Hi Ian.
Now you were very involved with putting together the Shell Shock rock box, which has got some great tracks, Northern Ireland tracks, and also a documentary. Tell us about the documentary briefly.
Yeah, so we were already compiling a 3 CD compilation to really document that whole explosion of bands in and around Belfast at the height of the Troubles in the late 70s, sort of green shoots of creativity coming out from this war-torn zone, really, from both sides of the divide. And it was quite an exciting project. And then a friend of mine led me to John T. Davis, who directed this fly-on-the-wall documentary entitled Shell Shock Rock, filmed in 1978, that captured a lot of those bands, including the Undertones and Stiff Little Fingers and others, the Outcasts, which had never been released on DVD. So we have added that as a bonus DVD to this box set, and very, very pleased with the whole package. I think the DVD really endorses the whole package in terms of the 3 CD, has 75 or so tracks, and then you get this wonderful cinema verite document, really. So we're going to play 2 tracks from that box set by, admittedly, the 2 best known bands, True Confessions by the Undertones and the wonderful Suspect Device by Stiff Little Fingers.
Don't look so surprised, you've been telling me lies. It's hard to wake up to your makeup, so please take off that disguise. Or you're confessions, you are just a knight. I don't know it for a fact. I got a picture from your sister who was writing on the back. Oh, your true confessions, true confessions. Sort this out, not too hard to talk about. You can hide your fears and tears, you can even scream and shout. Oh, your true confessions, true confessions. Don't look so surprised, you've been telling me lies. It's hard to wake up to your makeup, so please take off that disguise. Oh, your true confessions, true confessions.
Don't believe them, don't believe them.
So they were 2 tracks from our new box set, Shell Shock Rock, documenting punk and new wave from the late 70s and early 80s Northern Ireland scene, Undertones with True Confessions, and Stiff Little Fingers with Suspect Device.
And so, another box set that's come out recently is Music, all spelt differently. And I probably should be pronounced slightly differently, but I didn't quite manage that. And that is subtitled 1980, The Dawn of Synth Pop. And again, I'm going to play 3 tracks, and those 3 tracks are OMD Messages, John Fox, No One Driving, Japan, Quiet Life. So we'll play them back to back, then we'll talk about it a little bit more afterwards.
takes my place, mashing with the pictures on the pages. There's no one driving, there's no one driving, there's no one driving, there's no back from long ago. The voices burnt, the voices go. Vapor trails go by, voices on the lines. Nothing to come back to, can't we fade? There's no one driving, there's no one driving, no one driving, there's no someone's gone missing in the sheets. A sudden smell of burning leaves. The old streets overgrown, there's somewhere else to go. It's just another switchback, can't we fade? There's no one driving, there's no one driving, no one driving, there's no boys, now the times are changing, the going could get rough. Boys, would that ever cross your mind? Boys, are you contemplating moving out somewhere? Boys, will you ever find a time? Here we are stranded, somehow it seems the time we will. Here comes the quiet life again.
Okay, that was 3 tracks from our new 3 CD compilation, Music, Music, Musique, documenting the dawn of synth pop in 1980, what we hope will become a little series that will run through the 80s. That was Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark with Messages, John Foxx with No One Driving, and Japan with Quiet Life. I think what's fascinating there is all 3 of those artists were already kind of making their name prior to 1980, but to a lesser or greater degree, that was their breakthrough year. So Japan had evolved out of a kind of glam rock group. John Foxx had, of course, been with Ultravox, who came up through punk, and OMD had been signed to the Factory label. And what you see really is it's kind of a new dawn. This is music that doesn't really rely on guitars for the first time in pop history. So we're really pleased with this compilation, and hopefully, as I say, it will evolve into a series.
Okay, thanks, John. So we're going to go into next a track by Medicine Head called And the Pictures in the Sky. And this is a kind of a tribute to Clive Selwood, who he unfortunately passed away quite recently. Again, he hadn't been well for a time. And it's very interesting because there was, we had a request from Mojo magazine. They wanted to run an obituary, and they wanted to know what year he was born. And so I emailed his daughter saying, when was he born? And she emailed back and said 2nd of July 1935. And not only did I email on the 2nd of July, but the 2nd of July is also my birthday, even though I was born a few years later, I might add. So some synergy there. And of course, we've also signed a solo deal with John Fiddler for much of his work, which we're really looking forward to working with John on. So here's Medicine Head.
Rock and roll band. The roads, they weren't long, and my heart felt a new sweet song. The trees and the sun just helped my love along. And the pictures in the sky helped my soul get high.
That was Medicine Head with And the Pictures in the Sky, which I think I'm right in saying was the only hit single on Dandelion Records, of course co-run by the late Clive Selwood with the also late John Peel. So next up we have a track called Dandelion Seeds by July. They were a late 60s psychedelic group, like many others inspired by the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper. July were based in Ealing, just a couple of miles up the road from our base in West London. So this is Dandelion Seeds from the new box set July, the complete recordings.
never seem to care. Worries have they none. See them drift upon the breeze. Dandelions blow them and they're gone, flying to the sun. Come and be with me, where the air is always clear. Dandelion sea.
So that was July with Dandelion Seeds, as I say, from a new box set called The Complete Recordings, which also boasts a brand new album called The White Album, but spelled W-I-G-H-T because one of the band members is based on the Isle of Wight. From somewhat further afield, Fraternity were an early 70s, I guess you'd call them, well, they were soft rock, country rock, prog rock. They were just a rock band. Made two albums, Livestock and Flaming Gala, in 1971-72. Are best known in the rock history books because their singer was one Bon Scott, who not that long thereafter joined a very young AC/DC. This track, Cool Spot, is from their album Livestock.
Driving here today, Annabelle's a problem. Doctor's been a bed, blaming her condition. Me 'cause I'm not well. Can't find, just can't find, just can't find.
So that was Cool Spot by Fraternity from their debut album Livestock. We're really excited to be working at the moment on a 3 CD box set of the entire Fraternity output, which includes an unissued third album with Bon Scott.
Now, it's always interesting when you do these shows what kind of memories it brings. And that brought back a memory from me when I was still a teenager. And I can remember one of my sister's friends bringing around to the house the 7-inch of the Animals' House of the Rising Sun. Because in those days, there was hardly any music on radio, and there certainly wasn't very much on TV either. And this friend, she played House of the Rising Sun, and I thought, what an amazing record. But of course, that's how it worked in those days. You would take records round to friends' houses and play them. That's where you often heard them for the first time. Anyway, we're going to go back to John now to talk about Immaculate Fools. Don't take it personally, John, because you're not an immaculate fool, really, but you're going to talk about them anyway.
Well, I've been called worse. Yeah, so Immaculate Fools were a really interesting band. They were part of a kind of new vanguard of, well, it's difficult to define it, but I suppose you'd call it alternative rock. I'd put maybe Big Country, the Waterboys, those kinds of groups in the same camp. And so Immaculate Fools had some success. They signed to A&M. They had a hit single, a minor hit single with the track Immaculate Fools, and ended up making about 6 albums. And the main guy, Ray Weatherall, still lives, is still out there with Immaculate Fools, and based in Spain now. They have a new album coming up in November. And once again, this is prompted by the fact we're working on a definitive box set with the band. And we're going to play the track Immaculate Fools by Immaculate Fools.
We talk of changes, we talk of many things. When there is sadness, we rearrange the dream. Those tainted promises, they fade and die. We forget so easily. The love inside, we are enchanted. We are immaculate. We are selected. We are enchanted. We are immaculate. We are selected. I looked out my window, thought I heard you come. Looked inside my mirror to see what I had done. Faith, hope and charity, I passed you by. Call them now, they can't refuse it. Side by side.
That was Immaculate Fools by Immaculate Fools. And I don't know if you knew, John, but they've had 21 different members over the years. Isn't that extraordinary? Yes, they've had many different lineups. So another of the box sets that we're very proud of at Cherry Red is called Supersonics, and subtitled 40 Junk Shop Brickpop Greats. And again, it's a mixture of well-known bands and a lot of bands that I have never heard of, and I do admire the diligence of the compilers of this album because they've really dug deep. But we're going to play actually 3 of the tracks that have more of a profile, and they are, playing them one after the other again, they are Kaniki, Come Out Tonight, Shampoo, We Don't Care, and Heavenly, Trophy Girlfriend.
Time goes
Okay, that were 3 tracks from the new RPM Records compilation through Cherry Red, Supersonics. Come Out Tonight by Kaniki, featuring, of course, Lauren Laverne. We Don't Care by Shampoo, and Trophy Girlfriend by Heavenly. Just to say, this 2 CD set was compiled by Martin Green, and he's definitely given Britpop his own particular bent. Martin was famous at the time for being really principally involved in what you might call the invention of loungecore, so the kind of popularisation of 60s easy listening. And he used to host a club called Smashing on Regent Street in London, was definitely a boy about town in the mid-90s there. And I think he's brought particular, as I say, bias or angle to the Britpop era, which perhaps is closer to the likes of Suede than the Blur Oasis thing. So it's a bit more arch and a bit more glam and a bit less laddie and kind of, yeah, Oasis style. So the title in a way is misleading, but it's a wonderful compilation.
And so we're getting near the end of the show now, but we're going to feature Jim Bob. And Jim Bob has a new album out called Pop Up. And this is the second single taken from the album called If It Ain't Broke.
If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. You break it, smash it, tear it and pull it to pieces. Kill it, remove the heart when it's dead. If you've got nothing nice to say, you say it, spray it, print it on front of a hat, and where it's a gun shows and blame it on God. You've got the whole world in your hands, and you burn it, frack it, poison the wells and the land, denying a thing that you don't understand. If you meet someone kind-hearted and beautiful, you gaslight and ghost them and make them feel worthless inside. You're frightened by love and you call it straight pride. If it ain't broke, you don't fix it.
That was If It Ain't Broke by Jim Bob. Jim Bob, of course, was one half of Carter for many years, and he's embarked on a very successful solo career. And he's also an author. He's written some books, an autobiography and a couple of novels, which are available via Cherry Red Books. So I'm going to hand back to John now to talk about Kevin Rowland, the track Thunder Road.
Yeah, so I was a huge Dexys fan back in the day, and of course any Dexys fan knows that Kevin had a solo career before reforming or revisiting Dexys, I guess, in the noughties. And in the late 90s, he, by his own admission, had suffered a breakdown and came out of that process signing to Creation Records, really at the height of lad culture, if you will, in the late 90s, and records this album of cover versions that were particularly personal to him. He almost saw it as kind of therapy, if I understand it correctly, and appeared on the front of his album, called My Beauty, in I think what he describes as a man's dress. So he wasn't cross-dressing, he wasn't a transvestite, he made that clear. It was a fashion statement, but of course that seems perfectly okay now. That would seem almost a zeitgeisty thing to do. At the time, it got completely misunderstood. and the album was issued at the very tail end of Creation Records' life and kind of got lost. And we were approached by Kevin 20 years on or so to rehabilitate this record really and represent it, and it's been a wonderful opportunity to do so, and we've releasing it on vinyl for the first time, and we've also finally again at Kevin's behest reinstated Thunder Road, the Bruce Springsteen song, which at the time was not included because of a publishing issue. So Thunder Road now has finally found its place on the album. So here is Kevin performing the Bruce Springsteen classic.
The screen door slams, Mary's dress waves. Like a vision she dances across the floor as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only. Don't turn me home again, I just can't face myself alone. Don't run back inside, darling, you know just what I'm here for. 'Cause you're scared and you're thinking that maybe we're not so young anymore. Have a little faith, there's magic in the night. This is your beauty, LA, you're alright. Oh, and that's alright with me. Yes. You can hide beneath your covers and cuddle your pain. Make crosses from your lovers, throw roses in the rain. Waste your summer praying in vain for a savior to rise from these streets. Well, I'm not perfect, that's understood. I'll tell you something, in you I'm only seeing good. With a chance to make it real somehow. What else can we do now except roll down the windows and let the wind blow back your hair? Well, your life's busting open, your beauty can take us anywhere. We've got one last chance to make this real, to trade in these wings on what's real. Come on, you are so beautiful. Oh, come take my hand. We're going out tonight to kiss up the promised land. Oh, Thunder Road, oh, Thunder Road, oh, Thunder Road. A line up there, there's a killer in the sun. Hey, I know it's late, but we'll make it if we run. Oh, Thunder Road, sit tight tonight, Thunder Road. Well, I've got this guitar and I've learned how to make it sing. And my car's out back if you're ready to take this long walk from your front porch to my front seat. The door's open but the ride's not cheap. Hell, I know you're lonely for words I've not spoken. Tonight we'll be free, all promises be broken. There were ghosts in the eyes of all the put-downs that you received. They haunt you still in the night, but now is the time to let them roll away. Yes, they scream your name at night in the streets. Congratulations, boy, the world's at your feet. You've always been alone. Now is the time to let that all go. 'Cause I'm here, I'm here. So come over here. It's a time for winners. We're getting out of here to win. Check.
That was Thunder Road by Kevin Rowland, originally planned to be included on his album My Beauty in 1999. 21 years later, it's finally released.
Thank you, John. One of my favourite bands, or many favourite bands over the years, has been Mercury Rev. And of course, Cherry Red did reissue All Is Dream, which was their 5th album, a few months ago. And we're now putting out on vinyl and CD with lots of bonus tracks, The Secret Migration. And I'm going to play 3 tracks from that album: In the Wilderness, First Time Mother's Joy, and Across Your Ocean.
Has she found a way to make her man work out right? And has she found a way to let her man into her life? Has she found a way to teach her man some control? Oh, make him understand her as a whole. Will she find a way to tell him just how lost she is? And will he find a way to lead her out of the wilderness? Take her by surprise, not by force. Able to withstand all her storms. In the wilderness, things aren't what they seem. In the wilderness, life is but a dream that floats on, that flows on. Will he find a way to let her play such a sacred role? And will she find a way to forgive him as a whole? Or how can he have been so blind for so long? And how can the woman I love be so strong? In the wilderness, things aren't what they seem. In the wilderness, life is but a dream that flows on, that everywhere you turn, you are surrounded by the sound of winter's song. Everything is frozen and only the swans have chosen to be strong. The skies are all a big commotion, somewhere the birds are all in motion. And home where they belong, you once thought, long faded out of view, was there all along and right in front of you. And look at you now, you're flying too. Oh, you're flying too. Soon the dormant, patient roots will show themselves as childish shoots of a first-time mother's joy. Little streams of consciousness, they tumble over rocks they kiss. Or what will happen now? Love you once thought, things you never knew, and the birds you once saw, long gone ahead of you. They were there all along, and right in front of you, and look at you now, you're flying. And where we go from here is anybody's guess. These thoughts I've got inside ain't easy to confess. My hand upon my heart, I draw a little breath. 'Cause I've fallen down, and I bleed and I feel that it's all too real. On a wave of emotion, sending ships across your ocean, and I've lost all my reasons, but it's you I can't believe in. And looking in your eyes, the stars they fall away. And holding to your hand, I waste away the day. I've got to make it known, I've got to let you see. But I'm not so strong, and I bleed and I feel that it's all too real. On a wave of emotion, sending ships across your ocean, and I've lost all my reasons. When it's you I can't.
So that was 3 tracks from Mercury Rev's reissued album, The Secret Migration, which was actually their 6th album, which reached number 16 in the UK charts in February 2005. The tracks were In the Wilderness, First Time Mother's Joy, and Across Your Ocean. And now we're going to really wind down with Mockingbird by Barclay James Harvest.
clouds and sky. Hush now, baby, don't you cry. There's a mockingbird singing songs in the trees. There's a mockingbird singing songs just for you and me. Rain, sea, surf, sand, clouds and sky. Time will see your tears run dry. There's a mockingbird singing songs in the trees. There's a mockingbird singing songs just for you and me. There's a mockingbird singing songs in the trees. There's a mockingbird singing songs just for you and me. Sea, surf, sand, clouds, then sun. Bless the tears of love now. There's a mockingbird singing songs in the trees. There's a mockingbird singing songs, singing just for me.
That was Mockingbird by Barclay James Harvest. It's on many albums, and as I said earlier, we have also many box sets now with Barclay James Harvest. They're a wonderful band. And thank you for listening to me, Iain McNay, and John Reed.